Oh, hi Warren. I did the measurements for the Colorbond K Flashings today, but I have come across there are problems, and I think they do need to be discussed between yourself and ASA. The problem we have is the height restriction, and I'll go through that with you and explain to you the problems that we have regarding placing the K flashing that ASA is requesting. Here is a drawing that I duplicated from the photos that you sent me, and from my understanding, I believe that this is correct. As you see the substrate upstand on the membrane, and you see the K flashing, and with the profile kickouts. I had a short discussion with Matty, the projects manager at ASA, in regarding the profile of this K flashing, and I think that this is going to be more of a preference thing. That I mentioned the kick out at the bottom of the profile, but Matty mentioned maybe the possibility of a kick in, and so I said that also needs to be discussed on that type of profile. We're having a kick out or a kick in at the bottom of the profile of the K flashing. Now this drawing that you see in front of you is based on a 100mm skirting tile, and the K flashing will sit on top of the 100mm skirting tile. That's okay for most of the profiles, but the problem that I like to mention is that the building on EN1 and on ground level on the ground level as well, the profile doesn't allow a 100mm skirting tile. It's far too shallow to hold it. Here in front of you is the inside fascia of the wall of EN1 on some sections of the building, mostly on the inner side of the building of the terraces, and you also got this effect on the ground level as well. And what the problem is the distance between the substrate and that ball nose you see in front of you. The distance between the substrate and the ball nose can vary up to 85mm up to 150mm. Now, bearing in mind, we have the thickness of the screed and pavers or tiles. Now, once we've got those thicknesses in place, it does not give us enough depth to place a K flashing just underneath that ball nose, if anything at all. I have raised this with ASA, and yeah, so a solution needs to be discussed regarding this this problem that we have. I've taken down the measurements, but obviously until this particular problem it has been assessed, really those measurements are not going to be coming to effect until this particular problem is solved. Hi Warren, I've given you these are the measurements for the for EN1 and EN2. If it's okay, if you could permit me not to give you the measurements for the ground floor around the podium area that that surrounds EN1, 2, and EN4. The reason being is that I think probably it might be best if we approach that later on down the track, and the reason being is that it's difficult in the sense that there's planter boxes adjacent to the building, and there has been talk about putting other walls. So to give you a measurement for the actual building, it could be confusing because there may be more K flashing, there may be not a lot of K flashing, because some planter boxes will cover areas that I could be measuring up for a wall that doesn't need it, if you know what I mean, because there's a planter box in it that will be taking the distance away from it. So it's going to be difficult at the moment, Warren, for the ground floor. And I was just thinking maybe we can approach that later on down the track when everything is a lot more clearer, when the landscape of the site comes into effect.